At the beginning of the story, we are introduced to a man named John Bridger. John is an extremely dangerous and professional thief who can crack any safe in the world within minutes. Recently released from prison, John calls his daughter Stella. Both love each other dearly, but when John mentions sending her a gift, Stella doesn't trust him immediately. She jokingly asks, "Do you have a real receipt for this?" because she is well aware of her father's past criminal record. After this, John's high-tech team makes their entry. Charlie, the mastermind of the team, who looks up to John as a father figure. Napster, a genius computer expert who can scan any building and extract every single detail. Handsome Rob, an expert car driver whose speed is unmatched. Left Ear, a master of explosives who can turn any sturdy building into rubble in just 10 seconds. Steve, the one who is going to lead this entire dangerous mission. Now the team's real mission begins, to loot a safe containing $35 million in gold. This safe is located in a high-security villa by the sea, guarded on all sides by dangerous gangsters. The plan is as follows. Steve secretly reaches the lower floor of the villa, while the other 5 team members reach the tunnel via the water route in a boat. Steve is directly above the tunnel, and the safe is directly above Steve. Just then, the team's computer expert, Napster, scans the entire building and sends the exact location of the safe to Steve. Steve immediately marks the spot, and the team plants the explosives. A massive blast occurs, and the safe breaks through, falling straight down. Right before the eyes of the gangsters, Handsome Rob and Napster speed away in a boat with the safe. The gangsters begin to chase them, but they have no idea they've fallen into a trap set by Charlie. In reality, the safe in Rob's boat was completely empty. During the explosion, the real safe had fallen into the water, which the other thieves had already secured. Now, John has only 7 minutes to crack this safe, as the entire city's police would arrive after that. But for John, the undisputed king of safes, this was plenty of time. He was capable of opening it in just 2 minutes. As soon as the safe opens, everyone's eyes widen at the sight of the glittering gold inside. The team quickly fills the bags with all the gold and vanishes just moments before the police arrive. The mission was a success. The entire team gathers on a snowy hill to celebrate their victory. John praises Charlie's master planning, and everyone gets busy joking about what they will do with their shares worth millions. But this happiness was short-lived. As they cross a deserted bridge, Steve shows his true colors. Suddenly, Steve points a gun at Handsome Rob and forces him to stop the vehicle. Before they know it, Steve's men begin unloading all the gold from the bus. When John tries to stop him, Steve points his gun at John's chest. John warns him that they will find him, but the ruthless Steve shoots John without blinking an eye. In a final attempt, John tries to drive the vehicle away, but the bus goes out of control and falls straight from the bridge into the icy river. Steve fires indiscriminately to ensure no one survives and then flees the scene. 1 year later, time has passed, but the wounds of Charlie and his team are still fresh. On the other hand, John's daughter Stella is now working on lock-breaking for the police. One day, when she returns to her office, she comes face to face with Charlie. Charlie tells her that he has found Steve and that he wants revenge for his mentor's death more than the gold. He explains to Stella that Steve has built a safe that only Stella can open. Initially, Stella angrily rejects the offer. She says, "I am not a thief like my father." But then Charlie makes her realize that this isn't for theft, but to punish the man who took her father away from her. After Charlie leaves, the fire of revenge begins to smolder in Stella's heart. That same night, Stella's mind changes. She calls Charlie and states clearly that she doesn't want the gold. Instead, she wants to see the terror on Steve's face when everything he has is snatched away right before his eyes. Finally, Stella gets ready to become a part of the team. The next morning, Charlie introduces Stella to his entire team and brings everyone to Los Angeles with their new identities. Now begins the mission to corner Steve. Charlie and his digital genius friend Napster take their positions outside Steve's luxurious house. Using his hacking skills, Napster uncovers every detail of Steve's home. He tells Charlie something shocking. The security of Steve's house is in the hands of the Carson security system. Napster explains that this is the most unbreakable system in the world. Every year, the Carson company holds an open challenge, promising a $500,000 reward to anyone who can hack their security system. But the truth is, to this day, no one has even managed to reach a single wall of this system, let alone win the contest. Now, the biggest challenge before Charlie and his team is to defeat the system that the world considers impossible. The scene now shifts to Steve, who lives all alone in his magnificent villa. He trusts no one, which is why there are no servants in the house. The thieves now have only one way, to somehow enter Steve's house and find the location of that secret safe. Stella is chosen for this dangerous task because the others had already been seen by Steve, and if any of them went before him, Steve would recognize them. According to the plan, the team cuts the cable connection to Steve's house. When the cable company's repair team arrives, Handsome Rob charms the female technician into letting them take over, and Stella enters the house in her place. A hidden camera is fixed in the button of Stella's shirt, through which the team sitting outside is watching every corner of the house. Seeing the sights inside makes the team's blood boil. Steve had not only stolen their gold, but also their dreams. There were the same luxury cars and music systems that the team members had dreamed of owning. After finishing the job, Stella fixes the cable. Just then, Steve starts flirting with her and invites her to dinner. It was impossible for Stella to sit with her father's murderer, but this was the easiest way to get Steve out of the house. With a heavy heart, she says yes. As soon as Stella comes out and sits in the car, Charlie takes her hand. He says, "You don't need to go to dinner with him. Just keep him busy and delay him a bit, then cancel at the last minute. That much time will be enough for us to clear out his house." The entire team now starts working on the blueprints of Steve's house. Napster points out a major problem. The distance between the safe and the main gate is too large. To carry the heavy gold, they would need small vehicles inside the house that are less than 6 feet in length. Rob calls an expert mechanic who modifies 3 special cars so they can carry the heavy weight of the gold and become bulletproof. Meanwhile, Napster hacks the entire city's traffic signal system. He can now control all the city lights from home, ensuring they don't face a single red light while escaping after the heist. On the other hand, Left Ear gets busy preparing the explosives. When the modified cars arrive and the team takes them for a test drive, everyone's confidence reaches an all-time high. But a bloody twist comes in the story. Steve meets a dealer, Yevon, to convert his gold into cash. During their conversation, Yevon mentions the Venice heist. Steve suspects that Yevon knows his secrets. Without a second thought, Steve murders Yevon, but Steve didn't know he had made a huge mistake. Yevon's cousin, Mashka, is the ruthless leader of the Ukrainian mafia. In the meantime, Charlie and Left Ear meet a quirky arms dealer named Skinny Pete to buy explosive materials. The atmosphere becomes tense when Skinny Pete also mentions the gold bars from Venice. Charlie handles the situation wisely and leaves with the explosives. However, the danger has now doubled. The Ukrainian mafia reaches Skinny Pete while searching for their brother's killer. They have found out that someone connected to the Venice gold bars is active in the city. Napster was constantly monitoring Steve's every move. Finally, the day arrived when Steve left his house to meet Stella. Charlie was about to start the plan when he discovered that a party was happening at Steve's neighbor's house. Using explosives was now impossible, as the noise would get them all caught. With a heavy heart, Charlie had to cancel the plan. Out of necessity, Stella had to go on the dinner date with Steve. At the restaurant, while Steve was praising Stella's beauty, he began insisting that she come to his house. Just then, Stella said something her father used to say, "I trust everyone, but I don't trust the devil inside them." Hearing this, Steve became alert. He remembered that these were John Bridger's words. He lunged forward, grabbed Stella's hand, and shouted, "Tell me the truth! Who else is with you?" At that exact moment, Charlie and his entire team entered the restaurant. The ground slipped from under Steve's feet. He realized this was all a trap to catch him, but Steve was not one to give up. He said arrogantly, "You can hack my system, but you will never touch my gold. I have increased security, and I will soon sell the remaining gold and leave this place." When he mocked John's death, Charlie lost his patience and landed a powerful punch that rattled Steve's jaw. The team returns, and the atmosphere is gloomy until Napster shares big news. Steve is preparing to move all his gold to Mexico via truck and helicopter. Charlie sees this as their final chance. He immediately contacts Skinny Pete and has a new truck prepared for the heist. The mechanic, Wrench, joins the team again. Now, Charlie and Left Ear reach the bridge where they plan to set explosives, right where Steve's truck is expected to pass. It is a do-or-die battle. Either they get the gold or they face death. Charlie's plan was crystal clear: reroute the gold-filled truck and lure it into their trap. To deceive the team, Steve dispatched 3 identical trucks at once, but Charlie saw through his cunning. He ordered Lyle to watch the truck's tires. Lyle noticed that the tires of truck number 128 were sinking under heavy weight. It was clear the real gold was in that one. As the trucks reached an intersection, Lyle hacked the traffic signals. He created a citywide traffic jam and forced truck 128 to turn onto the path where the team was waiting. Steve was watching all this from his helicopter and began to sense danger, but before he could understand anything, Lyle manipulated the city lights to push the truck straight into the team's trap. Following this, a hair-raising high-speed chase began. The team's Mini Coopers sped through alleys, stairs, and train stations at lightning speed. At exactly the right moment, Lyle stopped a train to give the team a clear path, and as soon as the truck reached that specific bridge, Left Ear pressed the remote. A massive explosion occurred, and the road collapsed. The truck fell straight into the pit. When the team reached the truck, they were stunned. Steve had swapped the safe at the last moment. It was a new and unbreakable model. bottle. Stella realized that Steve had become suspicious after their meeting at the restaurant. Without panicking, Stella begins her work. She explains that it is equipped with a glass shield. If it cracks even slightly, the safe will lock forever. The entire team held their breath. Outside, the threat from the police and Steve was escalating. Stella put in all her effort, and finally, with the sound of a click, the safe door swung open. There was the glitter of gold everywhere. Without wasting a second, the team began loading the gold bars into their Mini Coopers. As soon as they secured the gold, the team emerged from the tunnel, but Steve's men were right behind them like shadows. Inside the tunnel, the hail of bullets and the screeching of cars made the atmosphere even more terrifying. The team somehow managed to evade them and reach the highway. But then Steve's helicopter began hovering in the sky. Steve chased Charlie to the point of madness, even trying to crush Charlie's car with the helicopter's blades. When Charlie refused to give up, Steve jumped from the helicopter, hijacked a car, and headed straight to the train station where the team was loading their Mini Coopers into train carriages. Steve finds Wrench, the mechanic, standing there. Thinking he is just an ordinary laborer, Steve tries to bribe him. This was the same Wrench who had taken money from Steve to modify the cars for the team. Wrench takes the money and opens the carriage, but Steve is shocked by the sight inside. Charlie was standing right there. Charlie smiles and says, "Good plan, Steve, but the gold is mine now." A frantic Steve points his gun at Charlie and threatens him with the same fate as John. But just then, the Ukrainian mafia makes their entry. Steve fails to recognize them, but when the leader introduces himself as Yevon's cousin, the color fades from Steve's face. He begins to plead, but Charlie had already struck a deal with the mafia. Charlie hands over a bag of gold to them, and in exchange, the mafia takes Steve away to punish him in their special way. Before leaving, Stella delivers a powerful punch to Steve's face, settling the score for her father's death. In the end, the entire team celebrates their victory as they head toward a new destination on the train.